And then here's a fucking gay rock. You want to keep it and pee on it?
No, I want to live.
Hello everyone, it is Wizaldo or Wesley, and today I have another video on Nico Robin and OP14. If you don't know me, my name's Wesley and I make One Piece content, and I play a lot of Nico Robin, especially when she released. So I'm very excited for OP14 to kind of release and buff her up a little bit. There are some EBO3 cards in here, but they are replaceable. I do think you could replace the Nico Robin with another Kikinojo and another Kuma, another Nico Olvia, and the deck will still perform pretty decently, maybe with less heals, but it has plenty heals as is. If you do like this kind of content, please consider giving the video a like or possibly subscribing to me if you want to see it in the long term. Anyways, I'm going to hop through the deck list now. I'm going to run Nico Robin as the leader, of course. It has Banish built into it, and when she attacks, you can trash one card with Trigger from your hand and ramp a Rested Dawn. I'm going to run 4 of this 2K Usohachi. It's a really good 2K. It's going to let you rest your opponent's blockers, especially in the Boa matchup. This deck is so good into Boa because Boa relies a lot on getting cards out of life, although it doesn't solely rely on that. It just shuts down a very strong part of that deck. You're going to run 3 of this Nico Olvia. Like I said, you can bump it up to 4 if you're not going to run this Nico Robin. It's got a good trigger on it to see out of life, and it will buff up your leader to try and go for game if you're going to do that. It's also searchable off of Lilith, which you run 4 of. It lets you search the top 4 cards of your deck for a trigger. Pretty good card in the deck. You're going to run 4 of this 2K Kumasi. This is part of the Thriller Bark package, which this deck is going to run. Really solid card just because of the trigger, and it is a 2K as well. Searchable off of Lilith. A lot of the cards are. Gonna run 4 Absalom, a searcher for the Thriller Bark Pirates. Helps make the deck a little less rough when you're getting board cleared a ton, and it also has that trigger, like I said. 4 of the Sindri, something you're really gonna only want to see out of life, so you can play a Thriller Bark Pirate character out of your trash, but it's also a blocker if you really need one. 3 of this Kikinojo. I think Kikinojo is a really solid card, but the deck does have a lot of bricks, so I did want to cut it down to 3. Good card if your opponent's at 3 or less life, lets you heal, lets the deck be a little bit more defensive if you need to be with the on KO effect. You run 4 of this Hogback. This Hogback lets you play any 4 cost or less trigger from your trash on KO, which does include this Kikinojo and the other Thriller Bark Pirates. Solid card, 4 cost, 5k, 1k counter. I like the card. Gonna run 4 of this Perona. It lets you kind of slow down your opponent, slow down the game so that you can kind of pick it up, because Nico Robin can be a little bit slower sometimes if you are not seeing the cards you need to ramp. Really solid card in my opinion. It has on play and KO for freezing a 6 or less or preventing it from attacking, which can be really impactful for certain games. Gonna run 3 Kuma. If you don't want to run Kuma, you can possibly run the 7 cost Big Mom, but that does increase the number of bricks in the deck. If you're going to do that, I would either cut the Nico Robin, or if you're in EBO3, I would cut the Kuma and replace the cards I said before, where you bump up the Nico Olvia, the Kikinojo, and the Nico Robin. In this case, it would be. But if you're in the West and playing OP14, you could play the 7 cost Big Mom that your opponent can choose to trash one of their life or heal one of your life. Solid card to replace it, but it doesn't have counter. It's not necessarily as impactful, but that's the reason Kuma's so expensive, is because it's so impactful. You're on 3 Nico Robin. Really solid card for healing up as long as you have a life, and it lets you deal a damage to your opponent on KO. You're on 4 Gecko Moria. It's one of your boss monsters, and it lets you heal. Really good card. Exactly what this deck needed. Honestly, you could cut every single other card out that isn't in the Thriller Bark package, and the deck would still probably be really consistent. You're also going to run 4 of the most OP card in the game as of 3 sets ago. Gum Gum Giant. Super good counter. Really reliable. Really only usable at 8 or 10 Don, but solid card nonetheless. You're on 2 You'll Frighten Me, because it lets you play out all of the Thriller Bark Pirates and Kikinojo if you see it out of life. It's also a solid counter card if you really need to use it like that. Anyways, that's the deck. If you did like it, please consider giving the video a like, subscribe, consider maybe. I do have a Discord and Twitter link down below if you want to join up that. Anyways, I'll hop into the gameplay now and show the deck off. Alright, we're playing into a Boa. Automatically concedes. The deck just has that much aura. Alright, we're playing into another Boa, and the deck just has that much aura. They really do not want to play against it. Alright, we're playing against another Boa, and they're actually going to play against us this time. They're going first, which means I'm going to want to play on my odd curve. I do think this is halfway decent, but I am going to mulligan it because I'd like to see some of those in life. Alright, I have a Hogback I can play if I really need to, but I don't have any plays for this turn, so I just pass. I probably honestly play the Absalom. I do have to take this. Fortunately, I can't use the trigger. Ooh, I have a ton of Absaloms in hand. I think I will probably trash one then. Go 6 at the opponent's life, pitch an Absalom, and gain a Rested Dawn. I'm going to be able to put a lot of pressure on my opponent. do have to take a damage, unfortunately, but I do need to counter out of this. Go with another Absalom. Going to swing 9 into my opponent, force them to take, crash this other Absalom, and gain Arrested Dawn. And then I'm just going to pass here, I think, because I see a non-trigger character come out of life. Chances are the next one is going to be a trigger character, if that makes sense, because the deck runs like 30 or so. And I will take this, use that trigger effect to get that character. And then I do need to counter out of this, but I can't, which is a little bit scary. So I'll use the trigger to play an Absalom out. Got a huge board here. And I think I just swing for like life here. I'll keep a Dawn up to prevent my opponent from swinging. And I have 10 Dawn, so I have to save 7 Dawn. I have 3 Dawn to use. I'll just swing a 5 first. And that works for me. I don't want to take the life. 5, 5, 6. They do get a trigger, unfortunately. I'm assuming that's why they're waiting, but they don't use it. Then here I can just swing like this, and I'm not going to trash anything because I'm already at 10. And I get rid of a Nami, which is really nice. And then I Kuma. I'll pitch a Sindri here to heal, and then I just end. Hopefully my opponent can't end this turn. They might have a way to set me down to 0. Yeah, I have a Gum Gum Giant though, so I think that's much better to use. Maybe I just leave up 2 Dawn in this case, so I'll counter with that. Counter with the Kumasi. Alright, and they're not going to swing again. I can't use this Nico Robin, unfortunately, but what I can do is use it for the Gum Gum Giant. I'll leave 2 Dawn up here. Start with a 5k swing. Try and empty out their hand. I need 3 swings to go through here. Right, and then I'll bump this up to a 7. That goes through, so then I'll bump this up to a 7. They do get out of that. In this case, I clear the Nami with my Kikanojo, so they can't play anything. And then I just swing a 7 at life. They'll get a card, but I have a ton of counter in hand and a way to, I have Yule Frighten me, so I'll prevent one of the swings coming out, and I'll just end turn next game, or next turn. Hopefully I can counter out of this. Let's see. Frighten me. It doesn't work. Okay. Gum Gum Giant. Return 2 Dawn. Crash this. Buff up my leader. Fortunately, I don't have it. Hoping they'd swing with Boa first, their leader, but they did not. On to the next game. Alright, we are playing into a Boa Hancock. It's a good matchup for me. They're going to go first, but I don't see any turn 1 plays, and if I'm going second, I'm going to really want to see something. I'm going to mulligan. Still nothing. Oh, there's a Lilith. That's perfect. I will grab. I have a turn 2 play, turn 3 play. I'll grab the Gecko Moria for a turn 4 play. Then I will pass. Probably just freeze the 3 cost they play this turn. I will give up my turn 2 play here, just because I need something in life if they're going to be swinging at it. But hopefully I can draw into another 4 cost. There are a lot in the deck, which is why I was kind of comfortable doing that. Grab a Ran, which is going to be a good card. Yeah, and we get a Hog back, which is a nice one to play. Swing a 5 at life. I'll pitch a Sindri, I think, and gain Arrested Dawn to go to 7 next turn. I'll be able to Kuma. And I think with my characters in this matchup, I just control the board. Maybe if they have a lot of characters out on board, just because I will get punished for swinging into board, maybe I just play more aggressive than my opponent. And I'll take this. No trigger, unfortunately. Then they'll go 7 at me. No trigger here. That's rough. All right, but I can Kuma and pitch one of the Gum Gum Giants. I'm not in a good place to use it. I could go up to 8 this turn and be able to Gecko Moria next turn anyways. I don't know if that's the play though. Start with a Hog back at life. Gonna take it. Maybe they get a trigger. No trigger. That's good for me. Now, do I use my effect here? I think I will, because I don't want to fall super low this early, on life, that is. So I'll probably take a hit and then counter out of another one, maybe 2. Right, and that'll go through. I'll grab the Perona and prevent the Ran from swinging. That way I can still just take 1 hit, but I'll go to 10 Dawn next turn. And actually, I'll just counter out of this. I don't mind falling low on cards just because I'm going to get a pretty big tempo swing with Moria. Use the card action to heal 1. I'll go to 5 life. I'm not stressing. I'll deploy Moria. I'll throw the Sindri into life. Then I'll go 5 at Marguerite. Maybe I should have done that a little differently because if they take this... Oh, they don't have a Dawn attached. That works really well for me. And I can go a 6 at life. Keep a Dawn up for Gum Gum Giant. They're going to fall really low on cards. I have 5 life right now. I'm not stressed. I don't have a lot of great stuff to play out of trash right now. I only have 1 thing. So I will probably play the Hog back. Ooh, well, I have something I can counter with now. And they're not going to be able to attach anything to their leader again. And I think I let this go through. And I can freeze the Ran. And they do attach one to lead. I forgot about the Ran effect. I don't think I use the trigger here because I don't have a good play for next turn. All right, so I will Gecko Moria. I'll throw the Sindri into life. And then I will swing at the Rayleigh to clear it, just because I get at an advantage as long as I have a bigger hand than my opponent. And then I think I swing a 5 at life. Keep the 2 Dawn up. Actually, swing 8 at life. force them to take it. They don't get the trigger from there. I'll be able to get a Perona out of life. I'll swing there. I don't think I care. I could protect it with the giant. I think it is a huge tempo swing if I do protect it with the giant in my advantage. So I will trash a Gum Gum Giant to do that. And then I will give a 2k in the Usohachi. And I get another Gecko Moria. So I'm going to have a huge board. So I won't have too much to worry about. They can swing another 10 into it, but I'll just counter with the Sindri. All right. And they probably swing at life here. I'll take probably both swings and try and clear board. And then heal with the Gecko Moria. Actually, if they swing a 5 at me, I'll just counter. Okay, I take this, use the trigger, play the Perona to prevent this from swinging. I don't think I clear board again, just because they don't have stuff that I can clear, and I want to clear multiple characters just because leader effect. So I will Gecko Moria again, put the Sindri into life, and then I'll swing really low early and ramp it up, right? And they do get that. I'll swing a 10 and a 7. I'll get some counter here. Yeah, I get their like whole hand. I can expect them to not clear, because if they do, I can just play some stuff. Yeah, or I can expect them not to try and end. They could probably like math it out somehow, but they're gonna swing big into my Moria, right? I don't really care. They can swing into my Perona too. I'm just gonna swing 8 at life with my leader and then finish the game with the Gecko Moria. Sure, I'll prevent the, yep, and there's the game. Pretty good in my favor. I think I played this one much better than the last one, or I might put the bad one next. Who knows what I'll do when I edit the video. But deck feels really good into Boa. I will try the deck into something else as well. All right, I am playing into a Jinbei. I think Jinbei likes going second, so I'm gonna take that away from him. I don't have any turn 1 plays. I have a turn 2 play, but I'm not gonna have anything in my trash, so I'm gonna mulligan this. I see a turn 1 play. That's really nice. Move to Lilith. I'll hang on to this You'll Frighten Me, I think, just to deal with board getting huge. But I think the way you play this matchup is to swing at board more than life, because kind of like Bello Betty in that they're just gonna try and swing at life, play really aggressively, take the hog back here, and then I just pass. Oh, I could have played the other Lilith. That was a bit of a misplay on my part, but I guess now I can Absalom and Lilith on the same turn. I'm gonna grab a Law. Interesting. And ooh, they got the 1 cost Law. Was not expecting that. All right, are they just gonna swing a 6? I think I have to counter out of that. I'm gonna swing in a 5 and a 6. Yeah, they're gonna swing the 5 first, which works for me. I will trash the hog back so I can have something in life, or so I can have something in trash that I can play out of life. And then I will take this. I'll use the trigger to play the hog back. That way I can loop the Peronas. I think the Peronas are going to be the way to win this match. So it might be beneficial to build up a little bit of a board. So I'm going to Absalom rather than play the Lilith. And then I can swing 3 at the Arlong. I do unfortunately have 3 cards that don't have counter in my hand and no 2Ks. So I am at pretty big risk right now. I think I'll swing a 5 at life. Maybe my goal here should be to starve. So I should have probably just swung 5 with my leader. But I'm not gonna ramp, try and hit that late game faster and end turn. I probably Perona whatever they play this turn and take 1 swing. Yeah, Perona the Adeline. I don't know. Or Aladine. And I'll let that go through. I can't really do anything about that. We have a big scary board. I go to 7. If they don't use leader effect, I probably counter out here with the Perona. All right, this turn I will play a Lilith first. Grab the 2k Nico Olivia. That was nearly a brick search. Would have been rough. And I will go 5 at Arlong, and then probably in my best interest to only go 6 at life and not use leader effect. Must have some really good cards in hand to not counter out there. Yeah, the Fisher Tiger I kind of figured. It's going to be rough. I think I'm going to have a ton coming at me this turn. Probably take the first hit. Depending if they show how they're going to swing, take the first hit, then counter out of the biggest, or freeze the biggest one with the You'll Frighten Me. They're going to at least counter 1 more time, or use leader effect 1 more time. Okay, so we have 7 from leader. All right, I'll take this one. I'll use this trigger. I mean, heck yeah. I get to play Perona and prevent 1 from attacking. And here, I think I Gum Gum Giant. I have a You'll Frighten Me for next turn, so that's good. And I get a Gecko Moria. I can't play it, unfortunately, but I can think about, I'm going to want to swing here. Going to be a very defensive turn, I think. Then I'll go a 5 with Perona at Watatsumi. That's perfect. Go a 6. Try and get a 2k here. That'd be awesome. Come on, counter it. The second the Jinbei gets low on cards in hand is when I can start to say the state of the game is starting to switch up. All right, and they do let that go through. Then I'll go a 5 at life, put them down to 2, and then I can go 8 at life and punish them for not countering. And we get rid of the Jinbei, which is really good for me as well. All right, they're gonna have 4 swings. I have a way to deal with one. I need to be able to counter out of another one. So I probably counter the smallest, or use You'll Frighten Me and counter out of the smallest swing. Because I can expect a 7 or 8 to come at me first, and I can counter out of exactly that. Looks like they're going to try and go for game. Even if they pitch that last card. Actually, I don't know if I'll be able to survive if they pitch that last card. And attach to leader, but now I know I can. I will You'll Frighten Me here and freeze the, there's 2 9s Adeline. Probably should have froze the Fisher Tiger because I can use the Kumasi to freeze the Adeline with a Perona. I think I have a Perona in trash, yeah. I'm not going to use the trigger because I can counter out of a different swing now. And counter. And that's game pretty much. Yeah, they concede or disconnect. But deck feels really good into an aggro deck as well, which is pretty impressive considering I didn't play that to the best of my ability necessarily. I think I should have been starving more, maybe only swinging at life with my leader just to starve my opponent even harder. But deck feels amazing into both Boa and Jinbei, some of the best decks in the format. I know Jinbei is not really amazing, but I imagine that this deck would struggle into Jinbei, so I'm happy with it. I'm gonna go back and do the deck reflection now. Here's that deck one more time. Honestly, I might consider bumping up You'll Frighten Me even more, maybe cutting out a Nico Robin or like a Kikinojo for it, but it does let you play the Kikinojo, so might not be the best move. Honestly, the deck feels amazing. I really like where it's at now. The Nico Robins aren't coming out until EBO3, so playing it in the OP14 Western meta might be a little rough, but I'm sure there's plenty of things you can throw in. Plenty of yellow trigger bodies or like a purple body. I know you can throw in the Sol, the 6-cost Sol. That might be a really good option. It's, here, I'll pull that up. This one here feels probably pretty good in it just because it lets you draw a lot of cards, and you saw in the last game when I was using a lot of counter, I was falling low on cards, and it's switching out a brick for a brick, so it won't really change the consistency or amount of counter in the deck, but it will let you get more counter, if that makes sense. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap up the video here. I'm gonna leave the deck as is. It will be down in the description if you want to see it. If you did enjoy this video, like I said, please consider giving it a like or subscribing. That's that, and I hope to see you in the next one.